Hey guys, welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where every week we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. As always, I'm Shanae Howard, and with me is Tommy Shelby
Hello.
and Ryan Robinson.
How y'all doing?
What have you guys been playing this week?
Uh, Not a lot. I've been playing more Pro Skater, just trying to get a lot of the challenges done on that, and having
Trying
a
to
lot
go
of fun
pro.
with that. And I finally finished the Platinum Trophy for Nier Automata on PlayStation.
Hell yeah, man.
Fuck yeah.
And no buying trophies. I earned them all. Got the screenshots to prove it.
And
So,
You
Tom,
got receipts or
after getting that
lack of
platinum,
receipts.
Yeah.
how are you feeling about your humanity at this point in time?
How do you mean?
Is it real?
I'll get back to you next week.
Okay.
Okay.
At least we got a topic next week.
Yeah. Cool.
Sure. But yeah, that's all I've basically been playing. I plan tomorrow to start Spelunky 2.
Nice. I've been eyeing that on the store, buddy. I've been eyeing
Yeah.
it, and I just don't look. I played not nearly as much Spelunky as you have played, but I played enough to know that I'm probably not going to get very far in that video game, and
It's hard, yeah.
and two, it now makes me as interested in Spelunky 2 as I am. I have to question how far I can reasonably expect to get in that game. You know? So I don't know. That has given me pause.
So I don't know what's all included with Spelunky 2, but there's like some mode that was like, near unbeatable. So somebody finally beat this mode in Spelunky 2, and it was like impressive enough that it was making, headlines on certain sites. So I imagine it's quite hard, but I spent a lot of
So
time
hard.
with the first Spelunky, and I never beat that one. But that's okay. I enjoy it.
Right on. It's got that. It's the girl this time. It's Spelunkette. So
Yeah, Spelunk She.
yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
She-lunk.
Yeah. Yeah, She Lunky.
Yeah, I was like, Spelunky?
But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. And like Derek Yu, man, like he's just such a smart game designer. Like I don't know what the fuck happened to what was it? UFO 50? Like where the fuck is that at? But I'm waiting. I'm excited.
Yeah.
What about you, Ryan? Besides thinking about Shalunky,
Yeah.
what,
I got lost
what have you
in
been doing?
thinking about Shalunky. Like,
I just feel like it's like a She-Hulk game.
Cool.
so let's see.
Wearing that power suit.
I played a very sweet. Well, actually, Kaylee and I played this together. We played a very sweet little game called Kind Words.
Oh yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, it's a game where basically the entire thing is people write letters and send them out into the ether for random others to respond to, and usually it's people asking for advice with like love or school or work or things like that. And then you can write back a response and attach a cute little sticker to it and send it off. And then the person, they'll read it and they can thank you with a sticker of their own. If you send out like a lot of letters, you'll not really know like which person is thanking you for which letter, but it's nice to know that they're getting back to those people. It's a fun.
Did you say that game's in the Strand genre?
Uh, yeah, I get. Sure. Yeah, I don't know. Look. I've told you, I don't know shit about video games. Okay. What I do know is that there are a lot of people out there who more people than I guess I realized who were just like looking for someone to say, like just let them know like, hey, this is
Words.
it's gonna be okay. It's just gonna be all right. It's funny because like I'll see a lot of letters that are like, holy shit, this is 17-year-old Ryan, and it's like it's just like it's funny. It's funny how like how similar like life experiences can be in that way. It's just like, oh my god, I went through this exact thing as a young man, and like now I had an older person during that time doing what I'm doing right now, which is trying to advise them on how to go forward with it. And it's just it's cool though. Like we'll spend like like maybe 20 minutes or so every other night, like answering a few letters and then seeing if anyone responded. We've actually sent out a couple letters of our own, and we got some pretty helpful responses to them. So that's been nice. Also, today I got the platinum on Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. I was super excited about that.
Oh, what did your trophy level go up to?
It's like 299 now.
After the change.
I think it's like 299 now. But yeah, so that was a very fun platinum. Except for so there's a trophy in that game where you have to get your net worth up to 3 million credits. Okay? And with every mission that you complete, you get paid a certain amount of credits, and those credits go toward your net worth. But every time you have to spend money on things like ship repairs or refilling your weapons, that will subtract from that net worth. And I got within 8,000 credits. Okay? And then I was like, here's a job that will pay me 15,000, which will be more than enough. But then I did the mission. I kept getting fucking blown up and having to repair my ship. And that shot me back down to 30,000 credits and then to 40,000. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it.
Mission.
Well, yeah, I got to the point where I was like, because I wasn't getting blown up at all the way up until that point. Like, at all. And then so I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to do some nice, simple little delivery missions and knock that shit out. And so that's what I did. I got the platinum. I was super excited about it. Then I played this other really cool game today, actually, which was Go Get My Marriage License. And that was a really fun...
Did you platinum that?
I platinumed it.
Rated M.
Yeah, it's rated, yeah.
Rated M for marriage.
Yeah, rated M for matrimony. But yeah, it was nice. It was a nice little after it wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be. Because I thought I was gonna get some bullshit about Kaylee's situation, which is her place of birth and everything. But it was cool. Everything was fine. Everything was easy. I felt bad because there was this other couple behind us, and the person was like, okay, so when you got here, the guy was like, when you got here, did someone give you a slip with a QR code on it to fill out the forms? And the guy was like, I don't even know what a QR code is. And then so the guy they had to do a whole thing and fill out the forms, and I was like, man, you guys are gonna be here all day. But yeah, and then we got out of there, we went and voted, and we came home, and now I'm just trying to decide what I want to platinum next before Valhalla comes out. Which is nothing, probably.
I mean, that sounds like a pretty fun game and a pretty fun day.
Yeah. I got a record today, too, so I'm excited about that. Gonna listen to it after the show.
Nice.
Yeah.
Boston. More than a feeling.
Yeah. The ultimate rock song.
I've been playing still a lot of Divinity 2. Me and Berto are almost complete with our playthrough. And then I'm getting into some pretty fun things with my own playthrough, and it's fun going through these things that I went through with them because I'm playing as a different character. So I'm getting to see all these different stories and how things interconnect. And I've officially given up on Last of Us 2. Not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I actually had a something we've kind of talked about on the show before, like, but a good moment with my sister talking about Animal Crossing.
Uh-huh.
So, like, for months now, she has been planning every day of October to have a different costume. And, like, she's, like, collected all these things and done all this. But, some things have happened this month, and she had to do some traveling out of state. So, like, she hasn't been able to do it, and she's, like, getting really discouraged. And I'm like, no, like, a game is supposed to be fun. Like, I know you had this idea, but, like, just do it on the days you can. Just select your favorite costumes. Like, otherwise you're not going to pick up Animal Crossing ever again. Like, because you didn't do this one goal. I know it. I do the same thing. It happens. I was like, and, just, like, kind of rekindling the fun of, like, Animal Crossing when she's been finding it kind of like a stressful thing for her.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes, like, you just need that with a game. Because, like, you want to play it, but it's also, like, got all this other stuff.
Honestly,
Taking
Shanae,
away.
here's my thing. People who play video games for fun disgust me. I play video games for two reasons. To get mad and to win. That's it.
When a game becomes work, I usually dip out.
Yeah,
you know?
just get out of there. They're not paying you, you know?
Yeah, but it's just, like, kind of getting
Man,
discouraging
that thing looks
because she
huge.
wanted to do this one thing.
The water tastes better coming out of it, you know?
I wish that thing was filled with beer.
Oh, that's an idea. 64 ounces
That
of
beer's
beer.
gonna stay so cold.
It will. You know what? It was funny because it's insulated, and so we tried to we take that into account when we filled it with water and we put it in the freezer. It's gonna be nice and cold when it comes out, and then it came out, and I was shocked to find that it was room temp. Felt like my mouth was on fire. But
I'm actually starting to like the room temperature water.
Yeah.
That shit disgusts me, Shanae. But this regular
It's
water.
also, but it's room temperature though. I mean, I also have a regular water that's a little bit cold. But for anybody, like, wondering, before the show we talked about cold and hot water or water temperatures, and Ryan has a fancy new gifted thermos.
it looks
that is
like No
64
Man's
ounces.
Sky. That's why I likes it.
It doesn't look like No Man's Sky,
Yeah.
but it also looks massive because it's in front of your face.
Yeah, like a planet
So-
in No Man's Sky.
I saw some friends this weekend for the first time since, for a long. It's been a long while
Since
before
the world
COVID.
before the
You know.
world ended.
And I was driving up, and one of them texted me, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna have some adult beverages.
Nice.
We're going to buy some Trulies." To which I said, "What the fuck is
That
Trulies?"
sounds fancy and expensive.
And they told me what it was, and I was disgusted because it's basically alcoholic LaCroix, which already disgusts me. Yeah.
It's like a White Claw then.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know White Claws.
So I drank whiskey instead.
You didn't even try the patchouli or whatever it's called?
The
No.
patchoulis. You didn't try the patchoulis?
Truly disgusting is what it should be called.
You didn't try it, so you don't know. But also,
Yeah.
I approve of those friends' choices.
Yeah.
But this week, though, Ryan, you had a topic.
Yeah. So, listen, the next generation is upon us. Some say
Yes.
it's already here. No one says that. I haven't heard anyone say that. But,
Yeah, I was like, no one.
so...
Been here since 2017, Nintendo Switch.
What? Anyway.
Switch!
Switch! Anyway, so with these next generation consoles, the push toward digital retail is pressing forward, and
We called it. I mean, everyone called it.
I mean, that's one of those there foregone conclusions. But yeah, it just so much so that one of the models of the PlayStation is going to be digital only for people who just don't want to fuck with discs, I guess.
I mean, same with
Xbox
Xbox.
will do it too. They'll do it.
I'm
I mean,
getting somebody's.
They got the two. They got the
me?
two versions, and one of them is that way.
as the 1S is that way, or the Series S whatever is no disc.
Yeah, one of them is no disc.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, and
for some reason, Kaylee decided to trigger my Find My iPhone while we were doing the show to ask me why I'm yelling.
Oh, did you find it?
Oh yeah, it's right here. I'm yelling because I'm excited about video games. So that's why I do a video game podcast.
Not since the PSP Go. Right?
Yeah, that totally threw me off.
But yeah, I mean, I think I talked about it on the show a while ago or a couple episodes ago, where like I am thinking about getting the disc version of the PS5 specifically because I want that Harry Potter game, but I don't want to give J.K. Rowling my money. So I am seriously, but like I mean, otherwise I think I would go the digital only way for the PS5, but like I don't want to give certain people money, but I want to play their products.
I mean, you can do that.
Try to do it digitally.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, I mean, I guess you can wait till you can get a used copy of it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my game plan going in on that one.
Sure.
One of the things I feel like with physical games is that like I don't know a whole lot about how digital retail is going to work on these platforms. But as far as giving games to people, as opposed to just handing them an Xbox gift card or handing them a PSN gift card, but handing them a game that they can, like a thoughtful game gift, you know, I guess like I can't see myself, you know, going like getting a platform that locks me in to only purchasing digital. Now, don't get me wrong. That is currently how I purchase all my games. But, you know, I'd still like to, you know, it's still nice to get little game gifts, you know? It's still nice to get games as gifts now and again.
I've been saying it for years. Microsoft, as well as Sony, shit, even Nintendo, I don't think does it anymore. I know they used to, but I don't think they do it anymore. They need to allow you to gift games digitally. Yeah. Steam does it. They all stand to make a lot of money in doing so, you know?
Yeah. So apparently there is, like, I heard about this like a few months ago, there is some kind of weird workaround on PlayStation to where you can technically do it. I don't really know the particulars of it, and I
like why could we do this on 3DS but we can't do it on the Switch? You know?
It seems like I guess I just don't understand the logic behind making it so that people can't do that. Wherein, like, you know, that's more copies of that game you're selling otherwise, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there are quite a few, like, I sometimes I look at my Steam library and I think about, man, there are some games in here that were purchased for me by third parties that I might not have purchased or played had they not been gifted to me.
Absolutely.
And there are games that, you know, I might have, there are PS4 games that I certainly would have purchased or played, but, you know, someone was thoughtful enough to get me that game as like a gift for whatever special occasion, right? Or just because gift. And that's very meaningful to me. I'm not saying necessarily that's meaningful to everybody, but that's definitely very meaningful to me. And so, like, when I think about the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series whatevers, the idea of locking myself into like a digital only thing is just not, it seems unrealistic for me. In that, like, I don't like the idea of like limiting myself for like no reason. It doesn't seem, I can't think of a reason why I would want to place that restriction on myself. You know?
I get that you can't, and like I would prefer to have the disc version of either platform, but $100 is $100, and that's going to get a lot of people through the door. You know?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, some people that is the only way that they really play it. There could be, you know, maybe it's like easier to like, I don't know, easier to manage in their mind or whatever their like lifestyle goes. But I mean, I guess it does kind of feel like, you know, you're getting that option taken away from you, kind of like whenever they stop making things as backwards compatible, where it's like,
Yeah. It's a funny thing, right? Like we've talked about on the show before, people ask for backwards compatibility, but the numbers show that people don't use it when they have it, right? We see digital sales very rapidly outpacing physical sales.
Yeah.
But people still want that disk drive, you know?
And don't get me wrong, I buy
kinda-
I buy games digitally because I honestly I don't particularly like changing discs. Two,
Yeah.
I don't particularly like going out in public right now.
Yeah.
So, buying games digitally affords me the ability to get new games without doing either. But at the same time, and I understand that this is, I'm talking about something that is specific to me. But that still seems like something I wouldn't want to lock myself into.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a collector, obviously you want physical, you know?
Yeah.
Like, think about Corey, think about Sandusky, right? They want those physical goods.
Yeah.
And I totally get that. I used to be right there with them.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter to me anymore. What matters to me more is, like, be nice to be able to sell a game back or let a friend borrow a game, or, you know, that kind of thing matters to me more.
I mean, we've discussed being able to, like, what if you could sell back your keys? Or...
Well, I mean, GameStop and Amazon have been planning for that for years.
Yeah.
You know,
just let me sell back the key. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know enough about any of that stuff to know how that would work or like what they would have to do to make that possible. But
yeah, I do also wonder about. I mean, it's been done before. I just don't know enough about that part of it. Like, but as far as like, say, so like you have a digital only account. And like that's all you have if you get like if you are a person who uses the same password on everything, so like someone gets your account, like what's that process like to get those games back? Because like if you have a physical copy of a game, like oh shit, like I can just make a free account and continue to play my game. But if all your stuff is digital and tied to your account, you are kind of fucked until that's fixed.
Yeah, I don't really know.
And that may not be an easy fix. I mean, I guess they could. I mean, I'm assuming that the vendor can probably see your MAC address from the device where you buy it and download it, and maybe like that it'll work that way.
Yeah.
But I do know, like with many of these digital accounts, it isn't like an overnight thing, even if it can be fixed. And some of them you just can't. Like I know, like there's a lot of horror stories with the Nintendo with like losing your like digital goods with them.
Yeah. Nintendo's pretty good about like, so the thing with Nintendo is like, let's say you lose your Switch, basically you're allowed to lose one Switch a year. Every year they will let you transfer that shit over, you know? If you're some unlucky bastard and you lose 2 Switches in a year, you're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that also like some of the accounts, like if they get taken over or like changed or somebody else like does something with that Nintendo account, like there are ways that like you lost your Nintendo account and all the digital stuff in there.
You know how many people are logging into my Spotify all over the place? Always. Like once a week somebody's logging into my Spotify.
I would fucking hate that.
You should change that password to something that you've never used with another service.
No, I've since canceled Spotify, but yeah.
He cut the cord.
I mean, you should delete that information then from their systems.
But you're totally right. And even with physical goods these days, like you don't ever truly own a game anymore. You know, maybe a retro game. Like maybe you go buy some Nintendo cards. Like you own those
because the disc is basically just a key, right? It's just,
exactly.
It's just a registration key that you have to. That you basically have. It's like a registration key the disc is like a registration key that you have to type in every time.
Right. I mean, you have a physical copy that you can play offline, assuming the game plays offline.
Right.
And you're never going to update it, you know. In that sense, also, you own the game, but
also it's not like but it is a physical key that's just not going to go away in the digital ether, or it's not just like, I mean, maybe lose it in your house.
I guess then again,
but like,
you know,
I mean, I guess like digitize me, Captain, or whatever, but
crunchitize me.
Yeah, I was making the play on that. But yeah, I don't know. Like it's like I do get like the like kind of like gut like I don't like that. I don't like not having this option if I want it there. And I mean, I am leaning more towards the disc version of it, but I do think that if it wasn't for wanting to choose how I buy these games, like as far as like who I want to give my money to, like I guess like that is kind of like the driving force for me because I don't really give a shit about like the physical thing except for like a couple games like Kingdom Hearts.
Well, like I guess I've gotten to the point where like I live in a small house. I don't have room for all this shit, and like I wanted when the PS5 first got like unveiled and all that, I was thinking like for sure I'm gonna get the disc version because there were heavy rumors about backwards compatibility with significantly earlier consoles, right? We've since learned that it will only be backwards compatible with PlayStation 4 games.
Hell yeah.
Which like 99% of my PlayStation 4 games are digital.
PlayStation 3.
So, like, what's the point? But
yeah,
at this point, I'll probably save the $100 and just get the digital only version.
And I guess honestly, I'm also of another like, I've been reading about like waste as far as the manufacture and sale,
yeah,
and whatnot of consoles and video games, and like the environmental cost of like just video games as a whole, like when it comes to like to manufacturing and also running
transportation,
but like, also like running cloud servers and like running all these other things. And so like that is something that is like also on my mind. And I think that like I think that like when I think about like whether or not I want the disc version of a console, and I say to myself, well, I want the disc version because I want to be able to do that. But then I think about like, well, if there was no disc version, would that stop me from buying the PlayStation 5? Well, no. And I think that it's like I think that part of what's keeping me holding so tightly to that is the fact that it's just like, that's just how it's been. That's how PlayStation has always been. PlayStation has always had, you put the discs in the thing. Like it's always had a slot where you put the discs in the thing. And so,
I mean, gaming in general, right?
Yeah. So,
I mean, do you think PlayStation 6 is gonna be digital only and then have a disc version as well? Because I can see this being like the like halfway step generation to that change.
A lot of people are saying that. I mean, look, a lot of people thought that this coming up generation would be digital only. So of course, a lot of people are going to say that the next gen after this will be digital only. Who the fuck's to say? The numbers of sales, right? Sales are going to dictate what happens. I think that it's very likely that this will be the last, generation we see with physical games. We're already seeing it's okay. So like it was last gen was pretty significant physical over digital, right? Games that were available in both. It was pretty significant physical over digital. But we've seen digital catch up so drastically over the past few years that digital is ahead of physical. Not by a lot, but it is ahead of it, I think that's only going to continue.
Save continue, if you will.
Yeah, and so to get to the point where they're selling 75% of their games digitally, which I think we're going to get to that point in 3 or 4 years. What's the point?
Yeah.
It saves
like
them
Ryan's
on...
like Ryan's saying, people are still going to buy it.
Yeah.
If PlayStation 6 is digital only, Corey's still going to buy that.
He's just going to make his own game cases for each game.
And I think that a large part of I mean I don't have the numbers to back this up, so I don't want to present this as like some kind of statistical fact that I've dug up, but like speculatively, I think that a lot of the physical sales from of either current gen platform come likely from people who live somewhere where there's a data cap, and
sure.
And so downloading, like hell, you download Red Dead Redemption 2, that's all your data.
For the
So
year.
and so like right, but like so like you have like when you download when you buy the game, you've already now have a separate download that's like a day one patch or whatever, and then
Yep.
whatever subsequent updates you have along the way.
Yep.
And let's say the game launches broken, and they have to keep patching it like a million times that month, and that's just
Which is more and more common.
yeah, and that's just more and more of your data going out the window for this one game. So, I guess when it comes down to it, if you're somebody who has a data cap, then your best bet is like, well, I'm just going to buy the game physical, and that'll just be that's just how I get my games. Then it becomes a thing where like, if you have these people who are still living in these places, still have internet that has a data cap, and then we get to a point where the consoles are all digital, then you have these people like, well, am I playing video games anymore? Because like, I
Well,
can't.
even like even if you don't have a data cap, right? Like I've got a coworker who lives in the same city we do, not in a rural area, but it takes him like fucking a day, sometimes 2 days to
Yeah.
download a game. You know,
Yeah,
I'm like, fuck, man, that'd be so miserable. I don't know.
yeah, and it's like,
You also have the people that like are like truck drivers where they live in their rig
Yeah.
and they don't have reliable internet. And I think we'll see more and more people bringing their PS5 to the library, go download something, then take it home.
Sure.
Or like gaming cafes or something like that. I mean, personally, I think there's a strong chance, just due to the logistics of how the internet works in the US, that next generation there will probably still be the two versions. But I think PS7 for sure is only going to be digital. I don't see any way that that's not going to be the case. Hopefully by then, internet is more reliable everywhere. But I can see like next generation, like in Japan or other like maybe even the EU, like they only have digital versions, and it's more of a US thing to have like a disc version of it. See which markets,
Yeah.
can have more of a reliable user base that can actually do just digital. Because it is a lot of overhead and a bunch of other costs to take that out for game developers.
I also think like you're gonna have to like there's companies that are going to have to adjust for it, right? Like if you think about a company like Limited Run, uh, they do sell other things besides games, right? Sometimes they're selling like reproduction of old SNES games or whatever, but like they also sell like records or clothing or whatever. They're really gonna have to lean into that shit if physical is gone,
Yeah.
But like part of me thought that would be it for a while, right? I thought it would go the way of like vinyl, where like enthusiasts would be buying physical, right?
Yeah.
Like collectors would be buying physical. But if there's just no option to play physical, then what?
Yeah. But
Then you're taking your PS5 to the fucking library.
which
Yeah.
I mean,
not wrong.
and it sucks. It sucks to think about like having to do that. I'm glad that I'm not in a position where I have to do that. But at the same time,
Yeah,
it also sucks downloading video games on a ass network like PSN too. So, there's also that. But
I mean, hopefully,
what's that?
hopefully with the more shift towards digital, they put more money in there, because if you don't have to pay warehouses to stock your games, maybe improve your shit.
PlayStation Network and the PlayStation Store on PlayStation 5 will be improved. Will it
Yeah.
be approved to the standards that we hope that it is? Who knows?
Yeah.
No.
But like people that
No.
bitch about PS4, and I bitch about PS4, right? As far as how
It's
slow
much
the
better
store
than
is and the
PS3.
connection. Yeah, if you think about PS3, like fuck,
PS3 was a web
PS4 is
browser.
fucking great. Yeah.
I haven't, I've gotten to the point where, as far as like, when I go to the past, what has it been? The past 7 years have kind of like adjusted my expectations at this point to where like, I go to the store.
Good.
I go to the store and I'm just
Lowered
like,
expectations.
I go to the store and I'm just like, I'm gonna be staring at the face button logos for a little bit. I can go to the kitchen and get something while I wait for this to load up. but I also and honestly, like the amount of time that the PlayStation Store takes to load up is, it's whatever. I just think that like my largest concern honestly is just like allowing the allocation of more bandwidth for things like downloads and making like streamlining that, because waiting as long as I've had to wait for games to download sometimes is just like, it's just a bummer, really. Like I'm like, man, I'm gonna play this game. I'm gonna play the fuck out of this game. As soon as I buy it, shit, I have to go to bed, and like it sucks. And I recognize very much that is a first world problem, but hey, the show is around a first world hobby, so whatever.
Well, and also is very, very much determined by your ISP as well, which has nothing to do with Sony.
Which also fuck those guys in particular.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother can of worms.
I just want to say this. I do hope, though, that like one of the things from the pandemic and the lockdown really over the next, like, say, like 4 or 5 years really does push ISPs to do better about improve their infrastructure a little more, because obviously like with everybody working from home, they realized that they had to change some things quick. I know like internet was pretty crazy for most people those first couple weeks in March, or those like last couple weeks in March, and I've noticed due to my job a fuck ton of new like hosting companies pop up where they are like providing like IP ranges for like smaller IPs to help with like traffic and stuff, and it's kind of nuts like seeing quickly how people are like going to third parties.
Honestly, I think like what's going to drive that more than COVID is fucking Google Fiber. Like competition is going to,
Yeah, that's already been happening though,
right.
And I'm just hoping that like this just gives it a push more. Give it a little more.
Let me tell you something. We just got the flyers in our neighborhood that shit's finally available here. Spectrum's about to lose a lot of fucking business in this neighborhood.
I'm so jelly.
It's cheaper and way faster. Like they're either going to have to drop their price or improve their shit.
I mean, I'm fine with either.
I'm fucking stuck with Spectrum. It's bolt cable in my apartments. Fucking hate it. But yeah. Sorry, just a bitch about that. Fuck Spectrum.
Yeah. It sucks. And it sucks to be stuck with not really having much of an option outside of that, like depending on your circumstances or whatever.
Right. But the option will spread, right? Yeah. It will, the geography of Google or whatever fiber optic provider that you might have in your area will get larger, It might take for fucking ever, but it'll happen.
Sure.
And it's just like we talked about between Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo, like competition in the ISP space will improve things for us,
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I just hope. Yeah. Well, my
I mean, it will, but still.
I know that's what will happen. I don't want to be. I don't want to be put over a barrel when that happens.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. I just want it to happen now. I have lived like the last couple of years so many places in San Antonio that's just like adjacent to Google Fiber, and I'm just like, I just want to live where Google Fiber is.
Yeah, you want to go where the fiber is.
Yeah.
So part of why I brought this up was because of all the stuff that I have been reading about the deal that Microsoft and GameStop have come to.
I know nothing about this.
So essentially, Microsoft and GameStop have come to an agreement where GameStop will get a slice of the revenue from any digital games that were purchased on next-gen Xboxes that were purchased in a GameStop.
That's too small a slice.
Well, that's funny because, like, it definitely there aren't any actual numbers that have been made public as to what kind of percentage GameStop can expect, but
It can't be big.
But pretty much I've read like I think 4 articles about it, and each analyst that I've seen in every article is just like, yeah, it's probably going to be less than 1%. Well, at the very least, not enough.
It's better than 0.
Well,
yeah, because like, are they going to give that deal to Best Buy? Probably not. Are they going to give that deal to Walmart or Amazon? Probably not. So like, yeah, it is better than 0. But...
It's better than 0, but also not likely to be enough to have any sort of significant impact on GameStop's financial future.
Not enough to save them, right?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but fuck them.
Oh, for sure, absolutely, fuck them.
Yeah.
But.
And so, like, my main question... So, I was looking at... the main thing that I was curious about with this was, okay, so I see what the benefit is for GameStop, but I'm trying to figure out, like, what the benefit is for Microsoft.
The benefit for Microsoft is GameStop carrying that product.
Well, and see, that part of that was just like I couldn't really get my mind around that either. I was like, it can't just be that. There's no way that it's just that, right?
I mean, probably to put their marketing in the stores, because every single store had like the in-cap market. I mean, you remember they had the in-cap marketing and stuff like that. So I mean, if GameStop is like, hey, like we'll still sell your stuff, but like they're not putting their shit up, and they don't get like, then I mean, it does. I mean, it may cost them the amount of money, like cost them more than the amount of money they're going to give to GameStop for these sales.
So,
I do think it's just that though, Ryan. Like, if you think about like, dude, the past generation and a half, people have been speculating that the reason that we haven't gone to all digital is because of the fact that retail exists.
So what it looks like is that based on the terms of this agreement, it looks like what Microsoft is expecting in return is for GameStop to use Microsoft's cloud infrastructure for like their back-end sales stuff, and they're also like, okay, so we want your associates to also use Surface tablets in the store, and
their servers. I was like, they use Amazon servers. You know they fucking do. Everybody does. I was like, what? They want them to use? I thought you meant like the actual like backend system. Got you.
That is what I meant.
So they're gonna stop working with Amazon and like go to Microsoft for all that stuff.
So I didn't see any mention of Amazon in any of the stuff that I read, but
I bet they haven't worked with Amazon in a long time.
You don't think that they use their servers like everybody else does? That like.
No, I don't. I think that's why, like Ryan says, you see no mention of it. Why would they put money in the pockets of one of, if not their biggest competitor?
I mean, same reason that like Sony and Microsoft also use them for their game consoles.
Sony and Microsoft are not competing with Amazon.
Like as manufacturers, absolutely.
Fair on that.
But
the sales of their physical goods, they are not. You know, I mean, yeah, Microsoft has the Microsoft Store, but who the fuck goes to that place? You know what I mean?
I bought a Xbox 360 controller from a Microsoft store once.
Sure, obviously somebody goes to those places, but like when you think about people buying games, where do you think of them buying them from? GameStop, Best Buy, Amazon. Yeah. That's about it.
For sure. And so like that, and the thing of it is just like, I can't help but like wonder where this goes, you know, and as far as like is this a thing that we could expect moving forward? And then like I also read that like people are pretty certain that that Sony is also having a similar conversation with GameStop to work out like a similar arrangement. But like I guess like the one of the points that was made was that like one could certainly assume that Microsoft is doing this with the expectation that, hey, GameStop, push our shit to the front so that people see our shit first and want to buy our shit more than, those other fellers.
Yeah.
The counterpoint to that was that regardless of what kind of signage or marketing GameStop does on behalf of Microsoft, people walking into the store are largely going to know whether or not they want to buy an Xbox or a PlayStation. And I think that that's true to an extent. I think that there are certainly people who are still like, I don't know. I don't know what I want. And they're going to go in there like to look at like what do you got? Like what does each of these things have? And if a majority of what I'm seeing is like Microsoft shit, it was like, well, it looks like Microsoft's got more stuff. Let me buy an Xbox.
I think that's only significant at launch, though.
Yeah.
Like that's significant at launch because the launch of a new console generation, at least for these two companies, has typically been right before the holidays. And you're going to see a lot of fucking parents going in there to buy their kids a new console. And mom and dad might not know what fucking Billy wants. So they're just going to go grab whatever they see. But, huh?
It's like, I need the new Nintendos.
Yeah, exactly.
Xbox or PlayStation.
I think like the three of us, with the three of us are most of the people, anybody that listens to this, right? Ryan's absolutely right. We're going to go in there and know exactly what we want. But,
So, like, here's the rub for me, is that GameStop makes their money off of their resale shit, right?
Yep.
So, I can't imagine that this deal, like, has anything, like takes any of that into account. And so, like, still, like, less than 1% of a digital sale is, like, what does that mean? Like, if I'm a company that makes all my money on people buying the used version of these new games, what does less than 1% of a digital new sale mean to me?
It means what we've known for the past 3 years, that GameStop is grasping for whatever they can get, man.
Yeah.
They're fucking dying. That's what it means,
They're on their death rattle.
I guess I wonder, like, well, like, yeah, well, sure. But it's funny because, like...
Bring back EB Games.
I mean, you can have that, but...
But it's GameStop now. It needs to be better.
I don't know. I mean, they like, they're both corporations that sell video games, and to me, they are interchangeable, honestly. But the idea of a manufacturer saying, "Hey, okay, we'll throw you a little bone. Here's a few pennies. Here's a few pennies for this sale. Okay, we'll throw that to you." And if GameStop didn't want to play ball, then I still feel like these machines are going to get sold at other electronics retailers anyway.
Yep.
So, like, it seems almost inconsequential that GameStop would be selling them when I can just get them at like a number of different other locations anyway.
But if you're Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, they have no reason to want GameStop to fail. You know what I mean? I mean, they do to an extent in that, like Shanae said, right? Like, if she buys a used copy of Harry Potter, that publisher isn't going to see anything. Let's assume that the Harry Potter game was a first-party Microsoft game, right? Let's say it's fucking Gears 5 or whatever, right? And Shanae buys a used copy, they're not going to see any of that, right? At least I don't believe that they do. But there are still so many people that buy new products from these stores, As much as these stores are fucking drowning, there are still people that buy those products at GameStop. That it behooves them for... for GameStop to succeed.
Okay, so then what happens if
There's a-
GameStop doesn't succeed? Let's say GameStop closes tomorrow.
GameStop closes tomorrow. People are going to buy their games somewhere,
Right.
for sure. But
So somebody may go into GameStop and going in like for a used copy of Gears 5 or the new Gears or whatever, and then are going in for a used one, don't have any, might as well get the new one. Like, I don't want to have to go to eBay. I don't have to drive to Best Buy, or go somewhere else that also does like trade-in stuff. I think there is a lot of those, like the cash register like things that people grab. I forgot, there's like a term for it that people do. I mean, if they close down
impulse
tomorrow,
buys.
impulse buys. There's a lot of like those that happen due
Yeah.
to like the nature of people just walking around, seeing.
Well, and
this stuff.
GameStop has been focusing more on merchandise the past few years.
Yeah, because they have to, and also they bought ThinkGeek or whatever that
Right.
was before, and then because like everyone knows where this is going, everyone knows they're dying.
Yeah.
They gotta like sell something. But I'm saying like as far as like where it behooves like Microsoft and Sony is that like some people who may have bought it used somewhere else like are getting it new because that store just didn't have it. There's a lot of
Yeah.
like of those sales, but like Tom's right. Like it also doesn't fucking matter to them if they do close because like that product is still gonna exist and people are still gonna buy it.
But I do wonder, right? Like, does the bankruptcy or closure of GameStop as a whole, like, part of me thinks that really would affect the games industry in a negative way. Like, I really do. Like, think about like anything that's trendy, right? I'm not saying video games are a trend, but to a lot of people they are, and they are looked at as such. Let's say like fucking, I don't know. Let's say there's a fucking 1,000 Froyo stands, right? And then that shit closes down. Some people are going to go get their Froyo elsewhere, wherever they can fucking get it. But some people are going to just think, oh, well, that was just some fucking fad. I'm not into Froyo anymore. Like that's a dumb fucking example. But like, I could see it having a pretty big impact on games in general.
It's
Well,
fair. That is fair on that. And
yeah.
I am bitter about things. I mean, I just don't enjoy a lot of the choices that the company has made, nor how they treat their employees.
No, and I agree with you. Even
like,
the companies
but
that were rolled into GameStop, right? Babbage's, EB Games, fucking Funko Land, whatever, right? They were better than GameStop. Like, they were, They gave you more back for the products that you were selling to them. They let you try things. There's many reasons why those companies were superior. Just not financially superior,
Normally, they treat their employees better. Like,
yeah, exactly.
a lot of those things. So, like, I don't know. I think that this is a deal that is good for GameStop and also just nothing negative towards Microsoft. Like, it doesn't hurt them to make this deal. It only, like, it could create all these, like, great opportunities. You said that they're getting their products in the store, like, if they have the Surfaces as like the register when they go around, like, hey, look at this game on my Surface.
No.
They also do those like hardware.
I mean, you say no, Tom, but like all the language that I've seen is basically like that's exactly the scenario that they're describing.
No, I get that. I'm not saying no, like that's not what they're trying to do. I'm
But
saying
no,
that's not
they
going to
don't want
fucking
it.
work.
Yeah.
It's like
Well, I mean,
when
there's
you
a lot of
watch
things that
Arrow
Microsoft
and
does that
suddenly
doesn't
in
work.
season 3 he's got all this window shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not fooling me. All right? I know Arrow's not using that shit.
Yeah, and also like I mean, I can only speak for me and myself and the people that I know, but generally don't like being approached in a retail environment. Just like I just want to look like I'm always just like, no, I'm fine, thank you. So like
yeah, but they have that in their employee handbooks to do. So like,
yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean
whenever
that's just retail 101. So like, it is what it is.
They were
but-
much pushier about it than any other retail job I worked. But like I remember before I left, like when we were doing the trade-ins for like iPads and like tablets and stuff, like they want us to walk around with like the thing like, hey, you can like buy this, blah blah blah, but like look at all this cool stuff. Like they want you to do that shit, and like
I would like
yeah,
look at your name tag, be like, Shanae, is it? I know what a fucking iPad is. Okay?
Shani, I don't want your fucking used iPad.
Yeah.
Shane.
Yeah.
Where's your manager?
Shaney, go get your manager.
No,
Right.
you're not.
Sure. Okay.
But yeah, I feel like this deal is nothing.
So
It's maybe like a one heart palpitation in the CPR trying to keep
Yeah, I don't think it's going to
GameStop
help them at
alive.
all. It might help Microsoft a little bit, right?
Might
We
not,
do
but
know
it's not gonna
Microsoft
hurt
is
'em.
like they're focusing on fucking xCloud and all that shit, right? It helps them probably more than it helps GameStop.
I'm someone who does not assume any sort of altruism on the part of any corporation just because, why? And so like I do think that if like the numbers were I do think that if the split was honestly of any consequence, that shit would have been front and center, and like that would have been the headline. But the fact that it isn't, and the fact that like these numbers aren't out there, tells me that like it's a number of just no consequence. Now, what I am curious about is like, okay, so back to Shanae's scenario of 2 generations from now, where let's say like both consoles all digital, no discs anymore.
You can buy keys at GameStop, PS7. Buy game keys at GameStop.
I mean, you already could. You already can. We could last generation.
I mean, yeah, you could PS3 too. We get and people being like, and me like before I sell it to somebody, be like, hey, so there's no refunds on this digital purchase. It is going to be a code on the receipt. And like there's like all the things, like look at the screen. I'm like, is this for the PS3 like that you think? And then they come back like, oh, it's supposed to be like for the 360. I'm like, well, you can't return it.
Yep.
So then what is then my incentive to drive to GameStop to buy the code versus just downloading it off the storefront?
It's going to be right next to Walmart. So you're going to stop by. You're going to stop by and then maybe pick up a plushie for Minecraft 2.
And buy, like, you can buy the keys on GameStop's website, which still profits them, But
and you're just like, oh shit, I forgot to get Ryan a birthday present. I'm gonna give him a key to this game.
So,
but like but like what I think is super cool about that is like GameStop buys up those keys in mass, much like a lot of online retailers do, and like there's been plenty of times where I've wanted a game that has been delisted for years and found the key for sale on GameStop.com.
Yeah.
So, little tip there.
So
but
I guess you never know. But I just thought I've never heard of anything like this before, and in all my 35 years on this planet, I've never heard of anything like this before. And and I think that it sets an interesting precedent at the very least. I think we'll see if it goes anywhere. We'll see if it, but like with the numbers likely being what they are, I don't see a whole lot coming from it later on, but I thought it was very interesting.
Another thing with GameStop, right? Like GameStop was dying before COVID-19.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I can't imagine this helped them much.
I thought that COVID was going to kill GameStop.
Yeah.
To be
when
honest.
I started seeing more pop figures than like the Wii, not the Wii, the Switch section, I was like, oh, the pop figure section is much bigger than the Switch section. I was like, oh, yeah, they're dying. Like, this is now just a toy store. Got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, do y'all have any more closing thoughts before we end the show?
Well, I would like, it is season for a little bit of Rise from Your Grave. So.
Thank you. I was just thinking that. Great minds. Hold on.
Let
me go into the mausoleum.
That was me doing the
right.
door.
Yeah, we should get like a little cloak or something for you to wear during this. Something you can throw on real fast.
I have a cloak that I can drop off. I'll just leave it outside your door.
Okay. All right. Oh, I can't look. Okay. So
Yeah.
I've got
You
the
fucking idiot. It's the whole point of the show. Don't look at it.
Shanae, you've gotten a little bit too big for your britches. I need you to tone it back when you're talking to the mortician. Okay.
Wouldn't it be the Gravekeeper?
Shut up! I've got the coffin open.
The Mortician's just for the funeral home. Do they
Shut the
also
fuck
manage
up.
the graveyard?
We should get like a little coffin that opens up,
Yeah.
and like every week, Kaylee can just throw a random game in there, so that you can open it from a coffin.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
All right. What have I grabbed?
If I see something that'll fit, I'm totally buying it.
Oh hell yeah!
Ninja Gaiden!
I
Yeah.
just bought this a couple of weeks ago. Well, maybe a couple months ago. I bought black, but same thing.
So,
Itoi Rose.
Ninja Gaiden is timeless and awesome. Have I played a Ninja Gaiden that I didn't like? Absolutely fucking not. In fact, I feel like Ninja Gaiden has been
Bad.
every iteration of Ninja Gaiden that I've played has been so remarkably different and varied, but all equally cool. You got the NES Ninja Gaiden, right? And then you have the arcade Ninja Gaiden. You ever played that?
Mm-mm.
The arcade Ninja Gaiden was actually... I feel like the arcade Ninja Gaiden was like really kind of... it was a little bit more dark and violent, but it was really neat. But like...
Oh yeah, because the other ones are so nice and fluffy.
Well, I think that I feel like NES Ninja Gaiden has like very much a like, it's a little bit more over the top, and I think that,
Dude, NES anime cutscenes in a game,
yeah,
fucking awesome.
and so like I think that that like tonally they're like and like visually they're like both they're like
Fair
very
on
different.
that.
But when Tecmo brought Ninja Gaiden to the fucking Xbox, that shit popped off.
Yeah.
That it was just it's one of the coolest character action games like ever. Like
One of
this-
the hardest too, right?
Yeah.
You think you're good at fucking Metal Gear Rising or Bayonetta or
Yeah.
DMC? Fuck that. Ninja Gaiden will fuck you up, man.
Ninja Gaiden you can get to a point in Ninja Gaiden where if you did not use your resources properly, you could get to the end of the game and you might just like, I think I have to start over. And that's cool.
I mean, I'm giving up on Last of Us 2 or Last of Us 1. Sorry, but no, I play all of Ninja Gaiden. That shit was fun, even if I was bad at it.
I think it was Ninja Gaiden 2, which on the 360, which like had like it had these enemies like it had like this whole dismemberment thing where like the more you dismembered the enemies, the more dangerous they got, and I thought that was really neat.
The one that had like the two like fire armadillos
Yeah.
going down the mountain. Yeah.
And it's funny because like actually when I played through Bloodborne, I was actually like, man, I would love another Ninja Gaiden. Like,
I mean, the timing is more important than most other character action games, right? Like, if you think about like Bayonetta or DMC, you can square triangle your way through those games, right?
Yeah.
You can get very, very good at them, but you can square triangle your way through them. You can't do that with Ninja Gaiden, you know?
yeah.
No, I tried.
So,
I failed.
Ninja Gaiden.
I made that like 1,000 death achievement pretty quickly.
Yeah. I think Ninja Gaiden absolutely must rise from its grave. Absolutely. I would love another Ninja Gaiden. In fact, I would go nuts if like
If you're listening, guys, make another one.
I mean, hey, they've had one on Wii U. Like, it's possible.
yeah.
You know?
I think that if like either of these manufacturers like during their little showcases or whatever, like they were like, we have a Ninja Gaiden game. Like I would have
Exclusive.
I would have lost it. I'm like, I'm getting that one. That's the one I'm getting. I want that one. So
Even a remake, man.
yeah. So,
Blue Point Ninja Gaiden?
yeah.
Come on.
Ninja Gaiden is absolutely must rise from its grave. So
All right, I'm glad to hear it because I also agree. Even though my opinion doesn't count in this game, I agree.
actually, Shanae, I feel like that's not accurate. I think that your opinion actually rarely counts for any game. So there you go.
I mean, But also, like, my statement's still correct because it's still for this game. Anyway, semantics.
And I'm a mortician and a gravekeeper. Thank you.
Cemetery owner,
Yeah.
Ryan Robinson.
It's a one-stop shop. Okay.
I want like the cloak. I want someone to wheel in a backdrop for you of a graveyard.
I could do the cloak.
Yeah.
At Walmart, they had a smoke machine. That was only
Yeah,
$12.98.
get some strobe lights going.
Man, maybe like I'm not too keen on using Zoom, but if we were on Zoom, I could have changed all this to a graveyard like in a snap.
Fuck yeah!
You can do it on Discord too.
Really?
I believe so.
Okay, well I'm gonna figure that shit out for next time because that would be dope.
Alright, speaking of that, load listeners, you can find us on most podcast apps such as iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher. We also have a YouTube, so you can see our beautiful faces and Ryan's awesome impressions. And then we also have an Instagram that Tommy runs that is it's just great.
It is really great.
Bye, guys.
Bye.